everybody. Welcome to the Realm Talk or the Real Talk, call it whatever you like. With me today, as every Monday so far, we got Claustro from PMP from the Destro side. Hello, Claustro.
Evening, everyone.
I hope you guys can hear them right. If there's anything low, you let me know. And we also got Bombling from the Thundercats from the Order side. Hello, Bombling.
Yo, what's up?
Good, but this is going to be an interesting night because both me, you, and Claustro, we just had a great fight, I think, down there in the city.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but I fucking enjoyed it. I think the viewers did as well. It was a great fight.
Did you stream it, Fixer?
Yeah, it was live.
Oh, perfect.
And I streamed without delay as well. It was real time.
Oh, that's
shit.
awesome.
So that was fun for tonight.
Congrats to the viewers then. That's a great fight to close up the stream.
People really enjoyed it. I mean, we got nice comments about the fight and everything. It's like, oh, that's amazing to watch the real time, no delays. We can talk, and it was good. It was good. So right, we got new patch last Saturday. We got two. Is it two or one hot fixes? I think it's two hot fixes. Yeah, two hot fixes on top of that to correct a few things. So how you guys doing? How was your week? Bumbling? Anything?
Well, I'm trying to remember the beginning of the week, but I'm just remembering this IC attack we just had. And that's pretty much all I got on my mind.
That was like your
it's been a good.
That was your best memory of this week, was it?
For sure. I think this is pretty much everything I was hoping for with City Sieges when I started preparing for it a year back. Tried to build up a guild, tried to improve myself, tried to build up my renown rank, assuming I would get champion often if I was high renown rank. Like I prepared a full year for City Sieges, and tonight it just felt like everything accumulated into like a climax. So I'm just super excited.
Yeah, sorry, I was just reading the chat. That's cool, man. That's cool. Claustro, you got any memorable moments besides tonight? Or that was the highlight?
Definitely the highlight. We've had a rough week. I haven't been doing that many City Sieges, but during our events we haven't really found any good fights. It's all about the PV door, pushing the zones and trying to find some fights, but you usually run into a huge order blob or a huge Destro blob. So as a Warband player, it's some rough weeks actually we're going through, but with a peak like this city, it's worth it.
Well,
yeah. So if we are just looking at how the situation was last week, I think we transitioned into maybe Destro. How are you guys on Destro side in terms of Realm Pride? Because I think this is the second, or is it the third time that IC has been sieged? Is Destro throwing, or are you still defending?
I logged in quite late, to be honest, but I felt it was more throwing, but it was also an early push EU time, so it could have been that kind of snowballing up to it and more order logged on because they felt like they had the opportunity to do something. So it was all good.
Well, it didn't feel like they were throwing it. I don't think the Destro side had a lot of organized guild running at the same time. And this was like one of the first times that Order was at points disorganized but consistent, and they also went for different maps, different tactics. They're sieging here, they were sieging there, they were trying to find the opportunity to get an advance there.
Yeah, that's good. And I would say that the guy with the biggest Destro pride tonight was the Lord in Butcher's Pass, who resisted kind of hard at 7%, so all credits to him.
Yeah, I missed what happened there. People said that the Lord bugged out. Was he like from 100 went to 7? Or did people grind him down to 7 and then he got stuck there? Because
he was DPS down to 7 and slowly to 6%, and then he just kablam died.
Yeah, because all this time they were DPSing. Let me just bring this on the topic. The flag got bugged at 7%. The devs were looking to fix it, and I think if they couldn't, they just killed him after a while because it was already been DPS down.
Yeah.
So I don't think that was any favor there. People were still DPSing him at 6%. I think he would go down anyways.
Yeah.
So from the attacking point of view, I was in there with a party, and we just assigned ourselves to be on the bottom floor to deal with the banner. to do the banner mechanic. And we kept hearing reports of, oh, the Lord is starting at 7%, he's not moving down. So I tried to inspire the troops, just like, this is just a display bug. As soon as we DPS the Lord down from like 100% to 7%, probably it's just going to catch up. And I'm not sure if that's actually what happened, but eventually the Lord just died after Order beat on him. So
Okay, so the thing is, nothing out of the ordinary happened. It was a bit delayed because of the bug. The bug got fixed. End of story. Nothing there. Valen says it wasn't the fort. The Lord wasn't DPS down to 7%. He started at 7.
Oh, I couldn't see that on the desktop side, but I was also outside the fort, so it's my bad. I was waiting to get a spot.
Hmm.
yeah, as I
Okay.
said, I think it was a display bug where the Lord was actually losing health from 100 and down to 0, but it was only displaying the 7%. So all the progress from 100 down to 7 was not being displayed, and then finally it caught up after reaching 7%. That's just my.
No, okay. I don't know.
Yes,
I
fair
wasn't there.
enough.
I was watching through State of the Realm, so I don't have an opinion on this. So I'll take your words for it. Okay, what else we have on the docket for today? I'm gonna get on with the patch notes a little bit. So I'm gonna take them in order that they appear on the site there. We're gonna start with the hotfixes. So here they say on ranked scenarios, the increased renown gain significantly from solo ranked scenarios. I might assume, guys, that this is a mechanism to attract more people back into the solo scenarios because of the lack of gear at the moment. What do you guys think, Claustro? You do any? Do you do any ranked ones, Claustro?
No, I don't have time for that. I did a few to get my last Oppressors medallions, but that's about it. Yeah, as far as I heard, I haven't done it. The solo queue is dead when the city came out. I'm not sure if it's true, but I hope this can bring some players back.
Bombling, you do any ranked ones?
I mean, I'm a ranged DPS. I don't want to drag a team down by being a weakling like that. So, uh, semi joking about that, semi truthfully. I agree. This seems like a carrot in terms of attracting players to queue up for ranked, even though the gear's not there yet. We saw like in the first weeks after ranked got introduced that it gave more medals and people queued up for that.
Yeah.
Giving more renown now, it seems to be in the same category.
Well, I've noticed. Yeah, I think it's a carrot. I'm going to move on, but I think it's a way to bring more people in because I've been keeping an eye on the ranked scenarios, at least the population through the add-on. Um, the they don't pop as much as they used to. People think get bored of it, or they don't see any progress. So it's a step in the right direction, I think, to bring some more people on that scene again. So second hotfix was fixed an issue where healing a player in combat would constantly keep you both engaged in combat. Um, we're going to see that further down as well. So that's good. You can stay always in combat, building up morals and whatnot. The added command dot virtual effects disable. That is something you guys might want to use, and it's a good thing they brought it on. This has to do with the massive amount of lag spikes that people have been reporting. I think this is a way to test whether this is server related or your own machine related. So I think it's a good thing. You guys think it was necessary to go this far, or because people propose that they should remove, let's say, the blasting portion or something? Do you think that this is a better approach to detect the problem? Bumbling.
I don't usually have too much issue with lag lately because I'm running absolute lowest of the lowest add-ons and necessary add-ons and lowest effects, so I have no effects on. I don't usually have the lag when other people in the Discord are complaining. I try to run this effect in IC and I had no lag, even facing squeak herders, as some assume are the cause of the issue.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is a good to have it.
Close to her, you have you used it or you never needed it?
I think I need to use it. I have a medieval computer and I have a hamster farm, so I'm tossing more and more hamsters into it to get the game running. I haven't tried it, but I think it will improve my gameplay a bit. I'm playing on fastest frame rates and all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So anything helps.
Well, I used it during today's stream. It works. Okay, the frame rate went up and everything. It's just that a lot of people told me as well on the Max as well that maybe I'm running too many add-ons. I think at the moment I have installed like 45. I'm not using
Jesus.
all of them, but they're installed. So I need this weekend to do a bit of a, you know, put them in the closet somewhere.
So did you
um,
use it today in the instance
yeah,
fixes?
I used it with my normal add-ons and everything. It was a lot better, but I hate not being able to see my napalms and stuff because I don't know where they are to go and position myself. I mean, if I know my
Yeah, that's a
napalm
good
is,
point.
I go on top of it, I make my pool there or stuff like that. So I do need the effect, but it was I would say I've seen an improvement of like 40-50% on my frames there.
M- Imagine me then, I'm trying to lead warbands and I can't see your napalm and I can't see the Archmage puddles and I can't see my Shaman's puddles. That's how medieval computer I have.
Well, I had to buy a good one for the streaming, so I can do it. It's just that I overdid it a bit on the add-ons there. Um, Gravord says that the rank is dead not because of lack of rewards, but because it's not played fair solo. No matter how much rewards are increased, if certain guilds run 4 to 9 people coordinated queues. Yeah, that's always been an issue. That's always been an issue, even on the pack scenarios in the past. But we're gonna leave this to talk about it on a different day. City Siege, hotfix. NPCs in the city cities will hopefully no longer grant morale now. Okay, that was related, I think, to the main patch notes that we're going to see. So they're trying to prevent people building morales from everywhere and just dropping it and winning the fight. So that was a good chance. I'm going to move quickly out of this one, unless you guys want to say something.
It didn't work though. You guys had morals from the warlords today. It was unlike.
Yeah, we did. We did.
Correct.
It's
And as me and Claustro talked about before you came into the channel, and we were
huh.
just like in preparation, we talked about if you're the winning side in stage 2 inside a city siege, and you have won like the team fight, and you won a clean wipe, and you beat on the Lord. If you continue to keep your morals while you beat on the Lord, that's a very big snowball effect that is very hard to come back from. And hopefully we see this effect come into start working because it didn't work today. And hopefully it will in the future. But building morals on the Lord is just not fun for the returning team to come back to.
uh, I mean, the hot fix usually they do it quickly, so it was a step on the right direction. But sometimes it takes a couple of efforts to get it right. But the thing is, they know it and it's there, so that's gonna get fixed soon. Moving a bit first, morale on the hotfix one on this Sunday. It's no longer possible to use any ability that damages your own realm or yourself to gain morale. Um, Such abilities will no longer put you in combat. Healing a target in combat will now refresh your combat state. Hmm. Attacking or being attacked by a pet will now put the pet's owner, the pet itself, and the victim in combat. Okay, that's good. Um, Change how combat flags are calculated slightly. Please report any bugs. Blah blah blah. Been stuck in combat. This has to do with the dock again and the warrior priest, right? The whole healing yourself, damaging yourself in combat. So you need something like
Both,
that.
both. I
Amongst other
mean,
things, yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can start this change, or you could start this chain with the doc or warrior priest to get yourself into combat, but you can actually still prolong the combat state for as long as you want. I just tested it before this podcast to bring it up, and that's a thing I hope they are working on.
So this is not working 100%.
No, no, no.
Okay. So that's
I know yesterday there were some problems with the morale kind of building itself on, for example, DPS as long as they got healed, but they hot fixed it, so
hmm,
that's actually okay. Now it's back to normal, like it were before all this.
okay. So
So
sorry, just a small parenthesis, Bombling. So far the four little things running the hot fixes, most of them seem to need a little bit more working now. Let's hope they're gonna get them done on by Saturday, so things will get better. So, Bumbling, sorry for interrupting you.
no, it's perfectly fine. In general, I think all of us here who wants the good and the fair fights, if there is a team just standing in their spawn and they are building morals on forehand without even seeing the enemy yet, that's just not fun and that's just not
Yeah,
fair. And I personally don't want to fight those fights because it's just not fun running completely dry on
you pretty
morals
much
into a
die
full
instantly
morale.
on those.
Yeah, pretty much. I had it happening to me like
Yeah.
yesterday evening in out of, so
So
it
as
is
per,
what it is.
yep. Go, Bumbling.
No, no, I'm
Oh,
fine. I'm
sorry.
done.
Esper says here that the AOE cap of 24 is too big. They should bring it down to 12 or 9 or something like that. To do you guys think that should happen? I mean, we all have AOE classes. What do you think, Bumbling? Is it 24 too much?
I'm trying to see the reasoning behind because just saying that the AoE cap is too big, is it because the healers can't keep up? Is it because there's too much lag from particles? I'm not following where this is coming from. If I think it's too much, I think it could maybe be cut down to 16, but I also think that 9 was too little.
Too little. Yeah. Claustro, anything to say about the cap?
I hated it when it arrived. I was so Destro biased, so I thought that Order was the big winner of it with all their damage, but in the end I believe that Destro was the big winner with all the 24-man CC that you can apply. I don't agree that the CC should affect 24 people, but I would have the 24-man damage cap being alive. But
Hmm.
tweak the CCs, build up time, shattered limbs, yeah, all those good stuff, and at least try for a week and let's see what happens.
Hmm. So, Zorg, I think they're working on that one. So the next one on the hot fixes is NPCs in the cities is no longer grand morale. Okay, we talked about this. They're still not working. They applied it on hotfix 1, but on hotfix 2, same issue. We had some problems there. So NPCs now reset mechanics. Also, when leaving combat, entering combat, getting softly afterwards. Okay, that's okay. Fixed an issue with State of the Realm. Yeah, State of the Realm guys had an issue with the numbers, so they kind of like fixed that one. So we're getting now to the main patch notes here, starting with the City Siege. So when using a small flag to teleport to an objective, the time will be increased to 10 seconds if the point was lost. Has lost one siege weapon and will be increased to 15 seconds. All siege weapons have been destroyed. Um, I like that. I like that because it brings a lot of strategy into it. You can't no longer, if you're losing, uh, that gives a plus, a bonus to the attacker as a reward. You kill a cannon, they can come back really quickly and stomp you. You know, it gives them time to recover. So, what do you think about this one, Cluster? Good, bad?
I think, to be honest, to save some time, I believe everything in this City Siege quality of life changes are a good one. Hopefully they can find even more things to approve to make the life a bit easier for the community. For example, the best one in my opinion here, that's the party thing where you save your party when you enter the instance, but we are coming to that later on. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good things, all of this.
Mm-hmm. Bombling?
I mean, it's just good. It also gives like not too much of a defender's advantage if you're defending the third BO in a city, and then you're almost wiped, but you have like one or two tanks standing on the flag, interrupting or dropping napalm or blast potion just to interrupt for a few seconds, and you have your entire warband sewn in, and only have a 5-second channel on the flag to come in with a full refreshed wave.
Yeah.
It's just nice to have like this scaling mechanic of the more siege weapons you have lost, the harder it will be for the defenders to come and reinforce.
Yeah. I like it. Sorry, I'm laughing with one of the posts there on the chat. Warlords should no longer walk past the enemy wall if there are no players nearby. Okay, that definitely is good. We remember, they were just fucking like teleporting all over the place, these warlords. So now they go in a normal pace. The King's Warlords have been slowed down in stage 2. You will need to be more tactical when defending your own realm warlords. So no more speeding, guys. You gotta make sure these guys arrive there. They're moving slowly, therefore they're giving more time to the enemy to DPS them while they're moving. So that brings in another aspect of maybe breaking up warbands or giving resources to defend or move all together, new stuff. Guys, Bombling and Claustro, if I say something you want to jump into it because these are small little adjustments. So if you have something to say, just jump in.
So for this one, I think that's probably the biggest like meta breaker in this set of patch notes
So it could be
from
what?
this week. The biggest meta breaker, like
Ah, okay, yeah.
it's giving new life to the whole how you play city sieges, because previously, if you lost stage 1, you lost all the BOs, and your lords would just walk to the BOs and bypass them. Whereas the whoever lost on the first stage, their lords would walk to the BOs and stay there for 1 minute, meaning that if they walked at previous speed, it would just be like a very hard uphill battle, almost impossible to come back from if you lost stage 1. This slowdown on the movement speed just means that you can be more strategical about which lord you defend or attack, and
Mhm.
it just opens up the fight way more. So I love this change.
The next one about the palace doors and the citadel gates, they have the health increased. If I remember on the last patch, they reduced the amount of damage the catapult users have. So now they increase the HP of the door. Is that to make it last longer, or wasn't balanced? Like, where did they do that?
It wasn't balanced. I mean, as an outdoor attacker, if you just took the north and south dock, you basically won earlier. I hope, but I think that these changes are small steps to find a balance of being able to defend it, even though you lost the north dock or the outcrop. I think it's on in
Hmm.
IC. So I'm guessing more tunings to this to find the perfect balance.
Okay, so it was a step on the right direction. I mean, we don't see something wrong with this.
Unless this is the thing bugging at the moment. It went from 70% to zero in the instance we
Hmm.
just had.
Yeah.
But they're gonna fix that as well, so it's no big.
Well, it's good we do the instances. We find all the bugs and everything. What's the next? Oh, that's the one you mentioned, guys. When joining a city siege as a warband, you are placed in the same scenario group number as you in the warband party member outside. That is great because we had a lot of people joining. The parties were getting scrambled. They were going all over the place. And also we had a little bug. You couldn't open the scenario table to change your parties. So it was really difficult to keep up the parties, the way you need to be, like 2 tanks, 2 DPS, 2 heals, for example, and the ones you wanted. It was a big mess there. So the table where you can change your parties with a little flag is no longer bugged, and people get in. It moves things along a lot faster. So I think that is a good one.
Yeah,
Uh,
and
yep.
and especially from the perspective that you're kind of pointing out the players that don't know how to swap groups in a scenario, doesn't have the scenario
Icon.
party.
Yeah.
So it always felt so bad, like this player can't even do this, blah blah blah. So it's good for the morale in the fights and the warband.
Yeah. Bombling, if you have something to say, just jump in, man, if you want.
You guys covered. Good job.
Okay. Sando, yeah, we had the same problem. I mean, Bombling and Claustro and me, we were in the same scenario before, the one you've been watching. So we had the same problem where we were attacking IC now, and the door went from 70% boom to zero on that stage. That has been reported, so I'm assuming on the next patch it will be fixed. Um, when choosing a hero, the king will now choose one ranged DPS, one melee DPS, instead of sometimes two of either. That's also good for the balance. But we did have a little bit of a problem here because if I remember, Destro was getting 3 champions, Order was getting 2 tonight.
Yeah.
That's a bit of a thing. Did you notice if we were getting one ranged and one melee, despite the fact there weren't 3, but did you guys get 1 and 1, or did you have any issues with this?
We had tank, melee, and healer. I think.
Yeah, in order we had range DPS in Tiptum, and we
Yeah,
had secret on White Lion. So
yeah, we didn't get a
we had
healer.
one of each apart from the
It was really weird that it was not the
The healer.
correct numbers of
Hmm.
champions and also different amount of champions on
Yeah,
both
so
well,
sides.
to
that's
bring
also been reported. So.
to bring in some sample size here,
Hmm.
Altdorf last night, the instance we were in, we had 3 champions on each side. So I'm not sure if it's completely bugged, so it's only gonna be 3 champions maximum now, or if it's gonna be like 4 and just one of each archetype with one of each DPS.
Yeah,
We
it
will
says
have to
here.
wait and see.
Yeah, Grohl says they got a melee dog as the range champion, a chopa as the melee champion, and Order got a bright wizard as melee champion and a room priest as a healer champion. So um, that is an issue. I think they need to see the classes and that. And Izerus84 says we got 1 on Order and 3 on Dashner, not even 2. All right, that needs to be looked at, but definitely the having 1 melee, 1 ranged is a good is a good change for
So
everything.
Fixer, since
Yes.
you're playing a ranged DPS in scenarios, would you like to see this change in Galador Woods?
It's already applied.
I
Three,
mean
three,
the ranks, the
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 rank.
ranked 6 versus 6.
Yeah,
If it's
that
only gonna start a match if it's one ranged and one melee on the.
um, it doesn't do that. What it does, what they applied is you either play with two melee or one ranged and one melee.
Okay,
You
that's
cannot play
nice.
with two ranged. They have implemented that 3 patches ago, but you can end up in a scenario where you have, let's say, two slayers on one side and you can have one shurk and one chopper on the other. That two different sides can happen that, but you cannot get two ranged anymore. It's been
Okay,
fixed.
gotcha.
Yes, we did make it to Ice City. There was a great fight. You can watch it afterwards. It was a great fight between Thundercats and PMP with all the little problems that we had. I have two ranged DPS on the same team before. Yes, but they fixed. They said that they changed it 2 patches ago. So was it recently, Gorg? If it was recently, maybe it's something they need to look at. But I am pretty sure they implemented that one. Um, okay, it was recent. Okay, maybe something changed again because there was no a lot of people queuing or something like that. Maybe a fail safe. I don't know, but it's meant to be working like that. Okay, when the king is choosing the champions, it will no longer be the top renowned rank player. Do we guys know how they are picked now? Is it the damage? Is it the contribution on capping flags and stuff? Do we know how this one works?
So there was a comment from one guy from the team, and he
Yes.
said that from each archetype that will be selected by the king, so either a healer, a tank, a ranged DPS, or melee DPS, each of these champs will be selected through the three highest renown ranks of each type. So for example, for the tank, it will be the three highest tanks, and it will
Ah,
be selected randomly.
so
Yeah.
instead of picking, let's say someone who's like, let's say renowned 90, everybody is below that. He picks 88, 89, 90 and rolls the dice one of the three guys.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So it's
I'm
still
personally not sure how I feel about this, as I put in a lot of work getting my high renown rank because I wanted to be a champion, and now it's random between the three highest. So I'm a little upset, but I can see why they maybe want.
well. If that's the case, man, then no one would don't. I mean, it's nice to play the champion. I mean, I seeing Fixer big for myself. It was like, wow, I love this. I want to be big all the time. You know, give me a potion or something. So if I know I'm going to queue up with you in advance, like, no, I don't want to play with Bombling. He's going to take my spot. You know. Now at least I can come and play with you. I'm using as an example because you're higher renowned than me. I have a chance. You know. It
I
is one
actually
of those things.
see I see Grol's question in the Twitch chat, and it's still the top renown rank, and that's actually true. Poop the Doc, Fluff, and Anarchos, that's our highest renown ranks, and all three got champions. I believe Secrets and Tibden was the highest for you, at least on melee.
Well,
And
Tibdum definitely is higher than me. I don't know about
is he higher than Bombling though?
Nah, I'm higher
no,
than him.
Okay, that's weird then.
no.
Well,
So
but both in height and in renown rank.
the Chinese hero wasn't getting invited anymore because his rank was guaranteed champion. Yeah,
Pretty
that's why
much.
they did it random. Top three ones random. So it's a good change as well. I mean, so far we haven't seen any bad changes. Some of them may not work 100%, but I think they um, still there. Thorbold would always be champions then. Yeah, that was the original plan, and he was. Same as Bombling and me in some groups. He was. But now, if everything works right, they pick the three top ones and one of them becomes the champion. We'll see how that's going to work because I'm assuming next Saturday we'll have a lot more mini fixes like this to fix a few of things. Like the Lords still giving morals and things like that. Fixed an issue which caused stage 3 not to end when a king was killed. Okay, that's pretty self-explanatory. Good. We don't want to wait forever. The portal in the Palace of Aldorf no longer teleports you to the Bright Wizards College. I'm going to start with Bumbling on this one. Why not? What's the story with this? What's the problem? Why did they remove that? Do we know?
So I think it's just because Destro wanted to get smarter on all their orcs, so they started teleporting into the Brad Research College inside Altdorf after
Yeah.
the instance was done, and we don't want them there. It's only for Brad Research, so get them.
Ah, okay. Um, you can now.
Getting our
Yep.
role-playing guilds over there so they can have some fun role-playing and writing
Ah,
some
okay.
content.
Because I mean, as far as I know, okay, we go there, but then you guys teleport in, you die because the NPCs are there, they're killing you. I just didn't see why would you, from this side, would jump into it. But
Why
okay,
wouldn't you die? That's fun.
no, I don't disagree with you. I mean, I see a word, but I'm running towards it, so I'm the crazy one. But uh, okay, they removed
Can
it.
we stop there and speak about the door inside the throne room in Altdorf? If you fight and if you're order, you push the right door and just swing to your right. You can open a door that leads out to nothing. Have you seen it?
No.
Well,
I'm not following.
if we have the stage 3 fight in Altdorf
Hmm.
by the Emperor, so if Destro wins the second stage,
Uh-huh.
if Order pushes out the right door and
Yes.
just swings to the right, you can open up a door that leads out to nothing. You should
Really,
actually have
I've
one
never
player
seen that.
open up that door and then punt us all out.
That
I've
would be
seen that one
funny.
before.
If we ever get into this fight, you should really stop, talk to me on the stream, and say, okay, we're opening the door, punt us, let's see it, so we can record it.
I'm running up there now in Altdorf. Like I'm so curious about this magical dawn.
I don't know, but would it exist normally, or would it just appear on the city
I don't
seats though?
know. I
Because
don't
it's an
know.
instance, right? So I mean, the city seats is an instance, so it might be on a different server and different rules. I don't know. Okay, so I'm gonna move to the next one. You can now click the Sun Dragon again to summon him. I have no idea what that is.
That's the
That's
Lord of
the
Change equivalent in IC. And since we haven't had many IC
Ah,
changes,
okay.
last time we attacked, we couldn't click on that Lord to
Uh, that's the door where the dwarf emissary and elf emissary are, the quest givers. Oh, okay. Um,
okay. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm inside this room now. Yeah, there's just a few NPCs. I guess they just cut out the room out of the instance.
yeah, and it was
Was
left a gap there. Because I know for a fact if they remove any room, any building from the server, it leaves a gap in its place. So if they move it, they have to move something else. There's always going to be a gap if they move something. I've learned that like a year ago. So Arno, Storm, the Hunter, Sir, Uresher, and I don't know this name, are first to arrive after the city is evacuated. Who's this dude? Is that important that they arrive first after the
do
city
you
is evacuated?
know, Claustro?
I had no idea.
Okay.
So I don't know the name, but I am just assuming that that's the respec trainers because
Oh, it's
previously,
the
before
trainers.
this patch, so when the city was under attack, all the NPCs would travel in a roleplay walk down
Ah,
to the
okay.
refugee camp, and
Welcome,
they would only
welcome.
arrive the same time as you could start queuing. So everyone who wanted to get in first but needed to respec first, they couldn't because the NPC was not there.
Ah,
So
okay.
these
So,
NPC are spawning before you can queue.
right. Okay. So people are confirming they are the trainers there. Okay. Thank you guys for participating and helping here to explain everything. Each stage one now rewards you with renown. Oh, that's new. 10k for stage one, stage two, 20k, and for what is it? Oh, 10k for stage one or stage two, and 20k for winning stage three. I'm assuming that's good for those below 70. They get something extra instead of just for the killing, a little bonus. Maybe as you say, a carrot to play better and win and grab that extra renown. Good change as well, in my opinion. Although some people like Bombling don't need it.
I do.
You should be able to donate yours. You're not like renown rank 90, and you're like, okay, let's help some of the guildmates. Let's donate my winning renown or something. Have an option to
Yeah,
click at
you
the
should donate yours to me.
no. I need to reach up with you, man. We also have a little shout out there from Secrets redeemed to Matthews Lime, Halter, Fixer, Bombling, Wanaka, Secrets, and whoever else was in the instance. Thank you very much, Bombling. Secrets. And Bombling, no, I'm not giving you money now. You're confusing me. Heroes will now be selected 2 minutes before stage 3 starts instead of 30 seconds. I'm assuming, Claustro, you're happy about this one? Makes
Very
your
happy.
warband leading a little bit easier, right?
Yeah, yeah. It helps a lot.
Bombling, you happy with this?
He's never
Mm,
champions nowadays, so he's never happy.
well, I guess I am. It's one of the suggestions I suggested because previously, before this, you only had like 3 minutes of preparation time,
Yeah.
and out of these 3 minutes, you were not assigned the champions before you had like
But it
30
doesn't,
seconds left.
this change doesn't increase the overall wait time. It just gives you more time within the normal time, right?
Yeah, so it just means that you're getting champion assigned a little bit earlier, so you have
Mm.
time to fiddle with the groups and make a champion party instead of the champions getting ported out because preparation time is over and you're not ready.
Okay, that's good then. That's good. Good. All the Death Warden belts have been corrected so that they can now be used as alternative appearance, and an alternative appearance can be applied to these belts. I've never seen them in my life. I don't know if you guys know this item, but either way, it's a good change. Now we can use them as everything else. Abilities. Oh, this is going to be interesting, I suppose. Fixed an issue where blood of my blood and sacrifice would generate morale. Mm. Is this cluster? Is this related to the whole I deal damage to myself, getting combat, heal, and create the chain thingy that was
Yeah, yeah,
hotfixed earlier
yeah.
on?
I would rephrase this one like fix an issue where blood of my blood and sacrifice would put you in combat state. That was the big issue earlier.
Okay, Bumbling, would you have anything to add to this?
As we covered previously earlier in this podcast, just anything that puts you in combat without being in contact with an enemy. So basically putting your side in combat without giving combat to an enemy team. I'm very much against that. So a very
Yeah.
welcome fix. I wouldn't even call it a hot fix. It's just a fix. It shouldn't be.
No, this is part of
Yeah,
the normal patch notes.
yeah. And I did some testing with secrets
Mm-hmm.
yesterday,
What
just
happened?
after the patch, and it was actually still active. So me and Secret did some testing, and then he actually figured it out. But I think this was the hotfix when he got this healing thing that you stayed in combat way too long. But
Hmm.
that's reverted, and I don't believe that this is working anymore. I haven't tried it today though.
Well, we'll
I
see
should. I
because
should.
so far from what we read, I would say at least at 10 to 15% of the hot fixes and stuff, they still need to be looked at. They seem to need a little bit of tweaking every now and then, like the lords or the speed or the door going down instantly. There's a few things there. So I think we're going to see a lot more on the cities being fixed next patch. So
Yeah,
things will normalize.
and to be fair, I don't think that many players used this particular exploit to get into combat. Because it would take some really hard theory crafting to get it going, and everyone needs to know what you're supposed to do. But this is also tied to the hold the line and HOTS keep yourself in combat. So this is one step in the
True.
correct direction.
I will agree that not a lot of people will use it. However, from both sides, if you know this and you're part of an organized guild that plays together, trains together, and all that, that could be incorporated into your warband daily play to gain an even advantage. From my point of view, anything that can be exploited or abused, if we can identify it and remove it, it's for the betterment of the whole server and fair play and all that.
Can I
So
put one comment to this
yes.
whole thing? And I've known about it for like, I don't know, 10 years or so, and I've never once questioned if it was logically correct that if a tank is holding the line while being in combat, that he's keeping the combat and morale gain constantly going. I've known about it. I've played against warbands and premates and whatever, also using it constantly, never even questioned it myself. I'm feeling stupid for never questioning it, but it's been implemented in daily play for so long, and I think it's only because we see city sieges now where you have these like last stand funnels without being inside a keep, um, So previously, before City Sieges, you would have like a fight on a BO, and then you would mount up and move away. So it was never as present as it is now, where you have a team standing on a BO defending a last stand.
True. And Grohl says it was used pretty heavily in ranked scenarios as well. So, okay, at least it's been identified. That's the whole point here, I think.
Yes.
But we have a more important topic to talk about in abilities. This is the bombshell of this patch note, as far as I'm concerned, and that says, a bit louder. Wake up, chat. This is the important, I think, the most important thing in this patch note. Squig Herder and Slayer indigestion and shutter limbs now increases cooldowns by 3 seconds, which was 5 seconds. Bombling? What about that?
So I always looked at this tool, the cooldown increaser, as a tool to shut down the muscle healing from DOK and from Warrior Priest. This is gonna help them. It's definitely gonna feel nicer for them and everyone getting hit by it in general. I'm not sure it was actually needed. I didn't feel like it was overperforming myself. Getting hit by it and having Slayers going in and doing it, I can see how it's very annoying getting hit by a Slayer train where they have like Shadow Limbs 1, Shadow Limbs 2, just constantly applying this, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
But does that mean? I mean, because people in the chat say, and I have to ask this because you do a lot of warbands, a lot of organized warbands as well. But would this means that the reduction down to 3 seconds, does that make Slayers less desirable for a warband, or is the 3 seconds, in your opinion, with your experience, good enough to maintain the Slayers in warband with those that reduction in the timer?
Ooh, it's a hard call. On top of my head, I would think if you rely heavily on Shattered Limbs in your shot calling as a warband leader, you might want to stack more Slayers now, even to get the same previous effect. I
Mhm.
don't think it's going to push Slayer to the side. Slayer's still going to have the utility role and have high AoE pressure while bringing single target heal debuff for clopping down healer lines. So I think Slayer's still fine.
Mm-hmm. Cluster, you use do you guys use squig herders in your warbands? Because today I've seen you only had one. Some other warbands runs two, three, sometimes five of them. Do you think that's gonna affect your gameplay a lot, or it's irrelevant? Or
It depends on what type of gameplay we are looking at. I believe that this nerf is in the same way as the AoE heal reduction nerf on the Rune Priest and the DPS Zealot. This is a pug killer. No offense to anyone, but if a pug warband gets shattered limbs and they don't communicate, they will die. But versus organized warband who has enemy set up that you can see the shattered limbs, you got one black orc or one swordmaster in each group, you got the warrior priest with the cleanse. The shattered limb itself ain't a problem, and I agree with Gravord in the chat, it's an unnecessary nerf. Because there's many ways to play around this, but it's also one of those annoying abilities that makes this game much harder for the casual player.
the now that you mention that, did you agree with the chat? And I was about to mention this, but Lord Cringe also says that he plays a Slayer, and he says we don't have the movement that the Squiggy does. I would like to see a different approach to the Slayer nerf since we don't have that mobility. Do you think it's like unfair to the Slayer? I mean, the Squiggy does have the jump, the leap, the back and forward, and all this. Do you think that really is a bit heavier on the Slayer from your perspective?
No. Uh, the argument behind that is the Slayer also has Rampage. If they pop Rampage, they're gonna have 100% uptime on it. I know that the Squiggy can jump to the backline and apply it really, really easily, but at the same time, with the Slayers, if you run 2, if you run 3, you can pop that Rampage. You can even do 1 on the front line, and you can go to the backline and apply it 100% chance. And I don't want to lead this discussion about it to swing it to the Rampage
Yeah,
ability,
yeah, we won't,
but
we won't.
yeah, but the Rampage is the thing behind it that kind of needs the tuning, not the shattered limbs. But I agree. I saw that one of the game masters said that this nerf is more for the squig herder because they are overperforming at the moment, and I can understand that, especially again versus unorganized warband. It's no fun to have a squiggy running in, and it's like the Winds of Insanity. You can do so much with this ability, and a Squiggy has a more free role than a Slayer. So
Definitely.
I agree.
I I will just step to finish my thing on this topic myself. I don't know if Bombling wants to add something afterwards, but I'm gonna keep what you said that the Squiggy is overperforming at the moment because, and it's important to me because I've been saying this for like two last months that the Squiggy needs to be looked at. It's overperforming against other classes on the utility part. So I don't know, Bomb, you got something to add before we move on to this one?
I got a little bit more wider and brighter
Oh, you're a bright
view on
wizard.
this whole. Yeah, pretty much. Um, so just looking at like the last month of patches and the ability nerfs or adjustments we have seen, we saw like the Winds of Insanity nerf. We saw DPS Rune Priest and Zealot and Dog Heal debuff getting adjusted, let's say like that, or removed. And now we see like Shadow Limbs. This is all like debuffing and utility, and I'm wondering about the direction we're going in as a server, because sure, as Claustro said, this is a lot of unfriendly utility and debuffs for a POC environment, but it's also very key tools for organized warband play. So I'm a little concerned about the direction, but I have faith in the devs to not overly do this.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I have to mention this because Gravel said it on the chat. It's kind of like okay. He says Wings of Insanity nerfed, right? While Squeakhead has it with a 10-second speed buff. Is that the one that
That's the one I did on you
you
yesterday,
did on
yes.
me yesterday? Right. Okay. That ability is insane, man. It's insane. Just interrupt the Squeakhead is a channel. There's always a
And
counter.
and
Sorry, Costa.
that's
Yep.
a big issue in my opinion. I know when we now touch Winds of Insanity, we're gonna figure out new ways to stall the fights, and the Squiggy, for example, is usable for that. And then the nerf to that ability will come, and then we're gonna figure out a new way to approach this, and
Mm.
then the nerf to that ability will come, and it's the direction that this game is going with all these utility nerfs. You're gonna have 8 Zorks versus 8 Bright Wizards in the end.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it like I think this is a Destro nerf, but I can see the direction that if utility constantly get nerfed, it will end up being a big advantage for Order.
Why you think that Destro has more utility?
Oh, for sure. They're
Uh,
definitely way more heavy on utility and displacement and morale gain
I
and morale
think
pump, whereas Order has like the raw damage numbers and healing.
true, but I think that the other difference on the utility is that Destra has it spread out to more classes than us. That's
Yeah.
also another issue. Because it gives them not an advantage, but it gives them a versatility on the warband. You know, if you can get, for example, an NG or a Magus, okay, let's grab a Marauder or let's grab something else and let's modify that to play. They have more choices, I think. Um, let's see.
Yes, yeah,
Yep.
just to speak about utility and what you can do. For example, in this City Siege we just had, I don't know how many of the viewers actually saw that fight, but we didn't run offensive morals on the Zorks. We ran the defensive morals on all the Zorks, the 20% damage reduction, just to test it out. We're going to use it versus certain setups, and that's one thing that Leicester can toss into the mix. Like tonight, we're going to try to play this defensively. We're not relying on the morals, even though that's the advantage that we have. It worked out well for us for the first 2 fights, and then we struggled to get the kills when you guys started to spread out. And then it's our turn to adapt, and Destro has all these good tools to do it, while Order has some tools, but not as many.
Yeah. I don't want to go too far with this because people are gonna like Gravel's gonna talk about the Mara and this. I don't want to spread out to other topics, but since you mentioned it, I was gonna say one last thing on this. Regardless of how many nerfs to do in utility and left and right and whatnot, there's always gonna be people like you said. They're gonna find different tactics to play with, and
And for
like
Gravel, I would actually like to speak about Marauder and the moral drain. But one thing that I have seen you do is you kind of blob it up and you push into the backline, and that's where the Marauder thrives. They can AP drain you, they can moral drain you. If you watch Fixer's VOD from the fights we had, you can see the Order Warband spreading out and kiting, and this is because they don't want to be drained. So that's actually one way to play around it, but it's rough. It's hard. It's a tough ability.
It is, but that's what I say. There's always a counter. You just have to find it. You know. Um, Anyways, this is a very big discussion about this, and no offense to you, Gravord, but I wouldn't mind setting it up for another day to have all this discussion about classes and stuff. Right now is not the right moment to get on that topic, I think.
The thing with abilities in this game is it's unmirrored, and some of the abilities are kind of mirrored, but on different classes. So as soon as we dive into one ability, we will kind of have to look at the mirror ability on the other side, and then if it's on another class, we get this like zigzag constantly going
Yeah.
back and forth, and it's just never gonna end the topic. So for now, I think we're done with ability.
Yeah, what we can do though, as a with inverted comma promises, if one of the patch notes that come up in the future that are a bit lighter on topics to talk, we can pick one of the classes and we can chat about that one, since it is a talk show. So moving on, get the keeps. The dwarf and the orc form are now available at the Bloodfist Rock Keep. I think there was some sort of those NPCs were not accessible for some reason from somewhere, right? You guys know these ones?
I know the keep is the east one in Thunder Mountain, and the foreman is the guy selling the oil. That's pretty much all I know about
Hmm.
this line of patch.
Okay, I've been told they were kind of like not accessible line of sight, so to speak. So they fixed it, so that's good. Then we're moving on to quests. They fixed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 quests. There's nothing for us to comment on this, but there's some PV improvements done. But on this patch, related to the other patches, we had a lot of tickets fixed. And I don't know if you guys use the backtracker. If you don't, definitely advise do it. If you see something, take a screenshot, make a little video, put it on the backtracker. The devs are encouraging us to put them on the backtracker. On the forums, they cannot track it very well. So as you can see on this patch, they fixed a lot of things there. They might have been minor or whatever, but you see the amount there is a significant amount that they fixed during this week. And let's hope they're going to keep it up. Use the backtracker. It's the right way to do it to solve a lot of issues. It was a good big patch uh, with a lot of footsteps to fix a lot of things in the future. Some of them didn't work, but I'm quite happy with the 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 work they did and the topics they looked into it. Um, I think that concludes the patch notes. I don't know if my guests here, Claustro and Bombling, have something they would like to say in closing. Claustro,
For the patch notes, you mean?
in general.
If you, yeah, if you see this respawn bug that we have been facing, at least on Destro
Well,
side in stage 3 in Altdorf, you die and then you respawn and you die on the respawn place again. So you have a downtime of 1 minute instead of 30 seconds. Please keep on reporting that because that's very, very, very annoying.
Bombling.
Well, in general, city sieges are still fairly new. We're like 3 weeks in now. There's still a lot of like game-breaking errors. Like the respawn bug should definitely have highest priority right now, because losing an entire stage because you die and then you lose a full respawn window, very detrimental. So all these nasty bugs, make sure to use the bug report. Spend like 5 minutes, make a good report, help out the game. The team is a very small team. They are volunteers. Help everyone out by helping the game by using the bug tracker.
Okay. So sorry, I typed something to Discord for you guys. So you know what I'm doing here a little bit.
Yep.
Okay. That's the time we had for today, guys. But like Bombling said, if anyone has any suggestions for current topics, would you like us to cover? Suggest them to our forum post on the podcast on our Fixers Discord. Feel free to do so. You will help us out a lot because the patch notes sometimes are a bit light. And this is a talk show of the two realms. We have two people we both know on both sides. They're both running well-known guilds. They're both running organized war bands. They have a lot of experience. They've been playing for a long time, and I know most of you have as well. So we can pick up some topics, be more active on this, and we can talk every Monday. Um, we see how it's
No,
gonna go.
not every Monday.
Well, every Monday when we have the show. At the moment, it's Monday. I know we're looking at something different, but once we
Oh, yeah.
hand the day, we'll see. Don't worry, I'll inform the people. We do all the
Perfect,
posts and
perfect.
everything. I just don't know when we change the day when it's gonna be. So at the moment it's Monday. We say Monday, then we'll see. We have reached to the end of my stream at the moment, so I'm gonna give a moment to Bombling. If you want to do any shout outs to anybody, any thanks, whatever.
So on this podcast, we're trying to cover like the warband aspects, and we'll go through like the realm balance and abilities, and go through the patch notes. We're not covering too much of the small scale scene in the game. Luckily enough, hang tight. There is a new project starting up on Gory's channel, and he is doing Power Hour with the Flavor Burst, and they are taking a different approach to covering like small scale and happenings of the game. And I think they do it every Saturday. So I would advise people to go and check that out if you are more into small scale, if you're into satire, and if you're into salt. That's pretty much the three S's on that Power Hour from what I've seen. So a big shout out to Gory, and yeah, that's it for me.
Claustro?
I would tell everyone who's not familiar with organized warband play to watch Bombling's VOD and Fixer's VOD of today's City Siege in IC. That's what this game is about, in my opinion. And if you're interested in joining, you should head over to Thundercats and speak with them, and you should speak with Pain and Pleasure if you're on the Destro side. And I'm sure both the guilds can find a spot for you to help the server improve and us improve.
Now that you mentioned this, I'm gonna do my little shout out with you as well. I don't know, you guys on PMP, since you mentioned it, are you looking for any specific classes, or you're open to all positions at the moment?
At the moment, we are looking for some chosens. We're being accused for running too many black orcs because they pump morale faster than chosens. I'm not sure about that. I did some testing and I didn't find it that way. So we need some chosens. We don't have any chosens signing up. It's like me who's playing chosen. It's a really boring class to play, but yeah, you can do some cool stuff with it, like press your hold the line button and your challenge button.
So I'm in the Thundercats with Bombling as well. He joined us recently. We're also recruiting, but we're mainly looking for knights, as far as I know, and maybe rune priests or warrior priests with healers and knights at the moment. So if you guys are interested on Destro side, talk with PMP recruiters. If you're interested on other side, even if you have a different class, I think for both guilds, just ask, find some people. They are recruiting. If you want to be part of some good organized gameplay, I think that's two safe bets at the moment. And that's it for tonight, guys. And just to reply to my buddy Lion Milk there, this is at least so far Lion Milk every Monday. We talk about the patch notes. We got Claustro from PMP, we got Bombling from Thundercats, and me in the middle, and we analyze stuff between us and you. Usually we got Nath on, but Nath got really busy today. He couldn't join us, but maybe next time. So, guys, this is good night from us here. I hope you guys enjoyed this.